Welcome to Bridge the Atlantic's interviews, where we get to know the people behind and in front of the creative industries. We're music web designer Ross Barber-Smith from Scotland, owner of Electric Kiwi, where we create awesome custom websites for bands, artists and musicians. You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram and Facebook as Electric Kiwi.
And I'm singer-songwriter and multi-instrumentalist Marcio Novelli from Canada, a man who wears many hats literally and figuratively. When I'm not releasing music under my own name or my side project Midnight Soundtrack, I'm producing and mixing records for other artists or directing and editing music videos and music documentaries. You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook as my name, Marcio Novelli.
And if you're watching the video portion of this, you can see that our new shirts have arrived and we wear them all the time.
I sleep in them, I wash in them, I shower in them actually.
Yeah, and he sends me pictures of
you
all
wish.
of the above.
You wish.
So if you want to, be a creep like Marcio and wear them at all opportunities and take pictures of them all the time, they're available to purchase on our website. There's a link in the show notes, so go get them.
Well, I guess I'm a creep that gives you a discount. So enter BTA Rocks through our website and you'll get 10% off. Just as our little way of saying, you rock.
This week we're joined by Famous Last Words vocalist JT. Famous Last Words recently signed to our past guest Shawn Milke's label, Revival Recordings, and released their new album, The Incubus, in September.
This is true. Shawn's a great dude. Since forming in 2000, I can't speak today. I'm having a smoothie right now and it's freezing my mouth, and that's why I just said 2009. Since forming in 2009, the band has released 3 concept albums and 3 EPs and toured the US extensively. We're excited to learn more about JT, the new Famous Last Words record, and the advice he would offer to his fellow musicians. So, hey JT, welcome to Bridge the Atlantic.
How's it going, you guys?
We are doing well, apart from our inability to speak, which seems to be a running theme, which is handy when you host a web show.
Yeah, very much so. So you know what? Let's just let JT talk and have him tell us 3 things about himself that everyone should know.
All right. First thing, I am a father, and that's a huge thing when it comes to being in a touring band. It's a completely different lifestyle when you have a child and you're going on the road and you have to leave for a long period of time and then come back. So always finding like that happy medium in between like family time and band time is always crazy. So that's number 1. 2, I went to an art school up until 9th grade. It was actually a charter art school. So it was like a regular public school, but you had to go, and then the like dance class, choir class, band, all the art classes were actually required classes, which back then I think I totally took for granted. Like now, but I think, it definitely helped out a lot for where I am today and the kind of art that I like to do today. And 3, like you said, we do concept records. I love writing and telling stories. I didn't know that you're a director. That's awesome. I love dipping my toes into video stuff too. So, yeah.
I think that when you're creative, why limit yourself to just one label? I mean, some people do, and that's great, and if that's what they want to do. But if you have passions for more than one thing, never hold yourself back. You know what I mean?
Point. There's no point
at all. I actually want to go into that a little bit. You talked about being a dad. How many kids do you have?
Just 1.
How old?
She's 7.
She's 7. Okay, so this is not a new baby. Like you've been doing this career with a child.
Yes.
I love hearing that because I'm a dad of 2 little ones, 4 and 1.5.
Awesome.
And you're on the road a lot. And I'm always curious to how do you make that work? Because you said it is difficult to balance it, but maybe go into that a little bit.
A lot of help. Definitely a lot of help. I have full-time custody of my child too. When I leave, my parents actually watch her, which is
beautiful.
Biggest support in the entire world. They're the one of the biggest reasons I'm able to do this. But yeah, it's FaceTime helps. FaceTime definitely helps a lot. It's not the same, but it's it's like I feel like I'm talking to you in person right now, but I'm not.
There you are. You are. Yeah. What are you talking about?
Exactly. It's funny because Marcio and I have never met in person, but his son Skylar calls me Uncle Ross because he knows me through Skype. And
So well.
he'll often ask to speak to me, and it's like, and it's weird because I feel like I know. Well, obviously, Marcio and I talk almost every day, so I do feel like I know you. But I feel like I know Skylar as well, even though it's just these little interactions that we have on Skype. It's crazy, but yeah, obviously it's not the same. But
I actually feel so bad for artists from like 20 years ago. You know, even a decade ago, when you didn't really have the opportunity.
No cell phones.
Yeah, I mean, the most you could do is a phone call. You know, so I mean, you know, we are living in a great age for that. But of course, it's not, like you said, it's not the same thing. You're still away from your baby, and you know, but you're getting to do what you love. So do you find that there's such a value in that, showing your daughter, though, that obviously you love your daughter to pieces? It's going without saying, but you're showing her that you're doing what you love, and you're following your dreams. And do you feel like that's going to have an impact on her when she grows up, maybe older, to understand that?
Oh, definitely. I have this tattoo right there. It says "Never give up."
Oh, I love that.
I show her that all the time, and if I'm ever in like a sour kind of mood or whatever, she'll be like,
she'll remind you.
Yeah, she'll remind me. She'll straight up remind me if I'm like, oh, I'm done with this. I'm not doing this anymore. She'll just go, Dad, remember, never give up.
Oh, that's adorable.
All right. You're right.
I love that, man.
Oh, that's really cute.
Yeah.
So you guys, you recently signed with Revival Recordings.
Mm-hmm.
In the current music industry, what do you think a label can offer a band, and also what can a band offer a label?
Really, it's about making sure that the agreement is mutually beneficial. And I feel like a lot of labels and bands out there, it doesn't usually work that way. But in any business model, it only makes sense for it to work that way. Because who's gonna, you're supposed to be driving each other to do the best that you can, not just for yourself, but for your business partners. They're pretty good at that. Their motto is good music by good people, and they do their hardest to follow that. And in this industry, it's not always a good guy doesn't always win, so it's not always easy because it can be kind of dirty sometimes. But we both have this ethical standpoint where we're not willing to really go that route, that dirty kind of route. So it's nice to work with someone who has that same mindset.
And would you say that's one of the reasons that you chose to go with Revival maybe over someone else? Was you had the same kind of ethics and ethos, and you wanted to achieve the same kind of things?
Yeah, and you guys talked to Shawn recently. He's huge on concept records, so it's cool to be able to bounce ideas off of each other and just be working with someone who's as into the story of an album as you are.
Well, he also seems to, the impression I got, he seems to really pride himself on putting the art first and putting the artist first, which is very rare.
Yep.
Ever, but especially now, So,
It's art always comes first.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely.
I'll spend $1 million in order to make sure that the art is up to par, even if I will come up in the red every time.
Oh, wow. Hey, but that's what you leave behind though, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's what you leave behind.
That's what you leave behind.
Yeah.
You don't want something out there representing you that you don't think represents you,
Exactly. Well, speaking of signing to a label and, releasing albums and music, a lot of artists now, I think, are opting to release EPs and singles over albums, which, as someone who grew up with albums, full stories, and, it kind of breaks my heart a little bit. Not that EPs don't have their place, obviously. It's like a short story versus a full-length film in my eyes. I not only love that you guys are still doing albums, but, what's kind of the decision behind going for the full-length concept album?
The first full-length concept record we did was Two-Face Charade. And that was after our EP, Pick Your Poison. And with that EP, we weren't really all that stoked on that EP. We weren't happy with how it came out. There was a lot of outside influence coming in on it. And after that EP, we realized that we are just not about that at all. So we ended up telling them that we wanted to do a concept record that followed Phantom of the Opera, actually. And our old management, they were like, no, that's a bad idea. Don't do that. That'll ruin your career. And we're like, okay. we'll just write our own story. And I think that what they meant was like, don't do concept records, not don't follow the story of Phantom of the Opera. So we're like, okay, yeah, we'll just do a different one. And that worked out for us. And really, I grew up listening to musicals a lot, and I think just telling a story through music just makes sense to me. So and I enjoy doing it. I enjoy doing that more than just writing regular songs, I guess.
I love that. I really do. I can relate a little bit. As a solo artist, I write just heart on your sleeve. But with my side project, Midnight Soundtrack, it's all concept, just all storytelling, and get that
fun.
Side out, right?
Yeah,
it's fun, man. You can create. I don't know. It's a little different creating in the musical world because people are used to either reading stories or seeing stories. But I think we have an opportunity to create a whole different landscape.
You released a short film to accompany Two-Face Charade. Sorry, my dog is very excited about this short film.
Apparently.
Now that he's heard about it. Do you have any plans to release anything to accompany the Incubus? Maybe another short film or something different?
We would love to. It's just, as you may know, it's a very costly endeavor to do something like that. The Two-Face Charade short film was funded completely by the director. There was no label involvement in that one at all. So that was a really awesome opportunity. And if we can get the money together and the time to do it again, I'd absolutely love to. I started working on a script for our last album, Council of the Dead, but I had to kind of put that on pause to start working on the Incubus. And it was a year ago yesterday that we actually drove over to Bethesda to start recording the Incubus. So it's crazy that's been that long since we recorded. But I definitely would love to if we have the time and the money. If there's an opportunity that presents itself to be able to do that, fuck yeah, I'll jump on that in a heartbeat.
I love it.
I'd also like to jump in just because you were talking about musicals earlier. Would you ever consider writing a musical yourself, like maybe like a rock musical or something along those lines? Because
I've thought about
that could be
it.
interesting.
It could be. I've definitely thought about it. I haven't really just taken the steps to really consider everything that would go into that and start, planning it out. But it's on my mind. It's been on my mind for a very long time, and I think someday I will probably do something along those lines. So
I've been told the American Idiot musical is actually really well done.
It's very good.
I've not seen it.
I saw a touring production of it over here.
Oh, no
awesome?
kidding. Yeah, apparently it's really good.
It was really good, really good. The Broadway soundtrack's really good, but seeing the performance was good. I mean, it would obviously be better on Broadway or West End. It was a smaller touring production that I saw, but it was good. And Marcio, as a Green Day fan, I think you would enjoy it.
Yeah, I think that'd be great. I also think that it opens people up to a whole different world that they might not have ever gotten into. You know, just like when someone from a metal band does an acoustic project, you know what I mean? Yeah. Something similar like that. It's like, someone might not ever have listened to that music, but then they get open to a whole different and realize that, there's a whole world out there outside of maybe what they're used to.
Yep. Every time you say that, I just keep thinking of Aladdin.
Why Aladdin?
A whole new world. You said a whole new world like 10 times.
It really was my favorite Disney movie as a kid, so I'm sure it's seeped into my subconscious somehow.
There you go.
Okay, buddy. Are you ready for 20 questions?
Let's do it.
All right. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Meat or veggies?
Meat.
Twitter or Facebook?
Facebook.
Family Guy or American Dad?
American Dad.
Yeah, that's Ross's favorite. That's like I might actually prefer American Dad over Family Guy too. But anyways, I've destroyed the lightning round. Okay, Batman or Superman?
Superman.
Vampires or zombies?
Zombies.
Education or experience?
Experience.
PlayStation or Xbox?
PlayStation.
Game of Thrones or The Walking Dead?
The Walking Dead. Never seen Game of Thrones.
Me neither.
I need to get on that.
All three of us haven't. We're all like behind.
I know. We're talent or attitude?
I think they go hand in hand.
Interesting.
It's a tough one.
South Park or The Simpsons?
Ooh, South Park.
Studio or stage?
Stage.
Canada or Scotland?
I guess Scotland. I've never been there, so been to Canada.
Being in
kind of like
Canada,
a-
it sucked. So I
Wow,
went
that's
to
so amazing.
I
That's
think
what people
so.
say. So I've been to Canada. I'm gonna say no to that. You know, I've visited fans out there. You know, but whatever. I'll say the place I haven't visited yet.
Sounds exciting.
It's not really. It's all right.
There it is.
Education or experience?
Already did this one.
Oh man.
Yes, you did. Ross, you totally fucked up. You totally.
Okay.
totally
I've got
fucked
a backup. I've got a replacement question. Okay.
All right, let's do it.
up.
Aladdin or the Lion King?
Oh, he rolled with it. He
Aladdin.
rolled it right there. It's Aladdin.
That's I don't know. No. It's gonna be the Lion King.
Really?
I had stuffed Simba when I was little. I was like my guy. Yeah, he was my
Your
bro.
dude, man.
Michael Jackson or Michael Bolton?
Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
It's kind of not a real
But
question.
Michael Bolton is a close
Yeah, that's-
second, right?
Oh,
He did that one song with the Lonely Island that was pretty
yes,
funny.
he did.
He did. Yeah.
So I mean, but Michael Jackson.
yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Assassin's Creed or Uncharted?
Ooh, Assassin's Creed. Uncharted. I don't know. Uncharted has some great storyline stuff going on, but I guess Assassin's Creed is I was into that one first.
I was gonna say it's kind of a classic too. Now, by now, it's a classic. Celine Dion or Marilyn Manson?
Marilyn Manson.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm. Whale or kale?
Whale or kale?
Yeah.
Like-
Yeah.
Eat?
to anything. It's really just rhymes.
You know, we started the show over 2 years ago, and we're like, let's find some that are funny
We've
and
grown up
rhyme.
since then.
And we
Oh,
we haven't changed it since then. Is
No, we
actually the
haven't.
sad part.
whale. Whale's more exciting.
Yes. Yes.
Bette Midler or the Riddler?
Bette Midler.
Oh, really? I'm surprised by that one. Actually, I'm not surprised by that one.
Yeah, are you kidding? I just watched Hocus Pocus last night.
Oh, no
Oh,
kidding.
the
Oh, you and Ross are
best.
best friends. Oh, I know what you're going
Yeah.
to pick for the next
I
question.
love
now.
Game over. She's amazing.
I won't tell you that I don't like that movie.
Hey, Marcio, how can you not like it? It's the
No,
best.
actually, I haven't watched it since I was a kid, to be honest.
Oh, it's so good. I've not watched
She's
it
so-
in too long
She's
though.
so funny. She's so
Is it?
funny.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well,
And our final question is a mean question.
because we're mean.
Ross or Marcio?
Ross or Marcio?
Yes. Ready for
I'm gonna pick Ross Marcio.
Well, at
Yes,
least
you
it's
guys.
not-
That's how I see you. Is together.
well,
That's
that's how
beautiful.
Ross sees us too.
Russ Marcio.
Well, at least you picked both of us.
I know.
There it is.
Considering Sean didn't even blink when he said Ross. I was like, wow.
We had just bonded over being musicians and dads, and and
He was faking the whole thing.
Terrible. Terrible.
Saw right through it.
okay. Well, you know what? Actually, speaking of Sean, we're and the fact that you just signed his label, I'd like to ask you maybe for a little bit of advice for some bands who think that they're ready for a label right now. And what maybe would you say to them to help them put themselves in the best position, I should say, for the deal, or to get themselves a deal?
For me, the number one thing has always been keeping 100% creative control. That's a huge thing for me. We have to definitely have that, or else I feel like it would hinder us from being able to do what we originally started out doing. So making sure when you're going into a deal, when you're negotiating different things, like that's one of the non-negotiables for me. So that would be the biggest piece of advice I have is make sure you know your non-negotiables, and I would personally just always keep creative control.
Absolutely, because then you end up hating what you got into.
Yeah, fuck that.
Unless you got into it for money, then you don't hate it.
Who gets into being in a band for money?
Not a band.
Not a band, but there are plenty of pop artists out there that I'm sure it's not about the creativity.
Yeah, that's true.
But that's
But-
not who we're talking about here, because
but not
they're not
here.
sitting there listening to our podcast being like, how do I make it?
I know. No.
whatever
No.
whatever make it means, right?
Yeah,
So,
right.
I mean, obviously, you've told us like what you'd be looking for in a deal, but are there any questions that you think people should be asking? Like, if there's a deal on the table or they're speaking to a label, what are some questions that you think bands don't ask that they should ask before they get involved in something that they might not be able to back out of?
I would get a lawyer first. That's definitely a smart idea, because contract language can definitely be confusing sometimes, and it's meant to be that way. So making sure you understand the contract is huge. Understanding the language in the contract, and then making sure that there is a way out if things are not working. Making sure there's clauses in there that state, like, if they're not doing everything that they agreed to do, to make sure that you're still getting, there's a way to either get out of it or to get something from them, something else. Just some sort of clause. You can really word it, or do any kind of trade-off situation that they'll agree to, but just something in there to protect yourself. You always got to protect yourself. Even if you're working with someone that you 100% trust, you never know what's going to happen. It's always like, and if you trust them, then they shouldn't mind you protecting yourself. There's no harm in protection. So
no, and contracts in general, they don't necessarily have to be that we don't trust each other. It could be, look, we have a great relationship right now. Let's have everything in writing so nothing comes up that destroys that relationship.
Exactly.
Because that's how I look at it.
Yep, and that's how it should be. Like I said before, mutually beneficial.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it's like one of our past guests. We had a past guest on. He was a music attorney, John A. Williams, and she said, the law shouldn't hinder art. The law should actually help you make art in a way that it should actually protect the freedom of everyone, rather than like putting limitations on it. And I think that if everyone is being fair and the mutual beneficial things there, you're just saying, I'm agreeing to do this, you're agreeing to do that. That's just us putting it in writing so that, you don't run off without doing what you said you would with all my money. And, you don't just get lazy and not do what you said you were going to do. So it really is just that.
Protection.
It's like that legal handshake kind of thing, more than anything.
And which is funny, it's I'm not sure if you've seen Artifact, the Jared Leto film about the 30 Seconds to Mars making their album, and it talks about the whole engine. Check it out, because
I've heard about it.
Yeah, it's really good, because it basically just it just talks about how the music industry is pretty much the only industry where it's not a mutual, like not even near mutual contract. You know what I mean? Yeah. Agreement. It's but that is usually on a major label platform.
It's all over the place.
But of course, it's all over the place. Of course it is. I've been told that too. I've been told a producer I was working with, I was all, indies are awesome. This is about 10 years ago. And he's like, dude, I've worked with great, good and bad people at every single level.
Yep.
Every single level, So, I can see a little grimace in your face when you say that. So I'd actually want to ask you if you can go back in time and do one thing differently based on what you know now. What would it be and why?
Nothing. I don't think I'd go. I've learned every time I make a mistake or something bad happens, I learn from that mistake. I learn from that bad situation. And if I didn't go through those, I don't think it would hit me or stick with me nearly as well. So even if there's things that I feel like didn't go my way, or they didn't go according to plan or whatever, I wouldn't take that back for anything, because it's made me who I am now. And I know now because of those mistakes.
Okay, I'll reword it then. 10 years from now, your daughter tells you she wants to be in a band. She starts getting some success, and labels come after her. What would you tell her that you learned that you don't want her to have to learn on her own?
Nothing. I want her to learn it on her own.
Okay, fair enough. I tried to get you there.
Like I said before, experience over education.
Right.
Which is funny, because I tutor math, so I'm like all about education too.
Look at you, man. That's awesome.
But really, you don't get the same kind of education from just learning from someone else as you do going through the experiences yourself. So that's the same reason why I wouldn't go back and redo anything. Is the same reason why I'd give her advice, but I would never tell her what to do. I would let her, and she's already come up to me and said, I want to be in a band when I grow up. So I've already talked about this one before. Yeah.
You're like, okay, I think I feel good about this, but I don't know how I feel about this.
Yeah.
Man, you were just you're a pleasure to talk to, man. And I'm hoping that anyone watching this that maybe has never gotten into your band will check you out. And where's the best place that they can do that online?
Facebook, it's facebook.com/famouslastwordsmusic. On Instagram, it's famouslastwordsband, and on Twitter, it's FLW_music. And then if you want to go pick up any of our albums, it's on iTunes, Amazon, Google Play, Spotify, Apple Music. It's all over the place. You can really find it anywhere digitally. And if you want a physical copy, you can go to famouslastwords.merchnow.com to pick up one there. So.
Nice.
Or a
how
show.
About you personally? Yes, come to a show, right? Best place to get it, the best way they can support you. How about you personally?
Personally, I'm also on Facebook. Just look up JT Tollas. And Twitter, it's JT_Tollas, I think. And then Instagram, it's JT.
I hope people have a pencil with them right now, right? It's like, okay, write this down. Don't worry, we have it in the show notes.
Fucking notes.
Make your notes.
Awesome. As for us, you can find the show on Twitter, Facebook, iTunes, and YouTube. Just search Bridge the Atlantic. You'll find us there.
Yeah, we usually say hi back, and Ross usually ignores everyone. I'm usually the only one to say hi back to anyone, and that's not true. As for me, I am personally working on my second solo album. You can be a part of it at marcionovelli.com/pledge to help make it happen. Make sure to follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and Spotify, which are all my name, Marcio Novelli.
And I'm working on websites for various artists at the moment. You can check out my work at electrickiwi.co.uk. You'll find me on Twitter and Instagram as Electric Kiwi, and on Facebook, Electric Kiwi Design.
This episode was brought to you by Chris Keaton, Joe Centenary, The Rockstar Advocate, Buck Naked Soap Company, 30 Roses, Wendy Donaldson, and Social Surge. We have so many new sponsors. I am so happy. It is amazing. Thank you all for sponsoring us. All the links to those sponsors are in the show notes, so please check them out because they truly keep the show alive, and this is why we're still doing this. To make it possible.
If you want to keep this show's heart beating, this show's heart pumping, keep us breathing, keep us eating, keep my dog fed, keep Marcio's kids clothed and fed, then head over to patreon.com/Bridge the Atlantic. You can support us for as little as $1 per episode, and we love you all.
Yeah, exactly, and that means we can keep interviewing badasses like JT here that are really, really great to talk to you. And I hope that basically the whole point of this is to just share knowledge, share experiences, and help people along the way. So, buddy, thanks so much for coming on here. Definitely come back. This has been such a pleasure for us. It really has.
Thanks for having me. I'm going to have to get me one of those shirts.
Thanks for watching Bridge the Atlantic. If you like what you saw, make sure to like, favorite, and most importantly, subscribe so that you don't miss each week's episode.
Please feel free to leave us a comment letting us know what you think of the show.
Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and subscribe to us on iTunes so that you can listen to us on the go. And we'll see you on next week's episode.